Dark psychology is often seen as a controversial and somewhat taboo topic, but its principles aren't inherently manipulative. It's about understanding the deeper aspects of human behavior, using psychological triggers, and leveraging subtle techniques to influence others. However, the key lies in the intention behind using these techniques. If applied ethically, they can enhance your ability to connect with others, build rapport, and create a stronger bond. In this video, we'll explore how you can use certain psychological principles to make someone deeply interested in you. We'll dive into subtle yet powerful strategies backed by psychological insights that can help you capture someone's attention and interest. Let's get started. Lesson 1: The power of mystery. One of the most compelling aspects of human attraction is the allure of mystery. People are naturally drawn to things they can't fully understand or predict. This is rooted in a psychological phenomenon known as the Zeigarnik effect, which states that people tend to remember incomplete or interrupted tasks better than completed ones. When applied to interpersonal interactions, this means that if you leave some things unsaid or slightly ambiguous, the other person is more likely to keep thinking about you. To leverage this effect, avoid revealing everything about yourself right away. Share stories, but leave some parts out. For example, instead of saying, "I traveled to Italy last summer and it was amazing," you could say, "I had this incredible experience in Italy last summer. It's a story I'll tell you sometime." This leaves the person curious, wanting to know more about your experience. By being a bit mysterious, you create an aura of intrigue that makes others want to spend more time with you to figure out the missing pieces. Furthermore, mystery can be maintained through body language as well. Avoid being an open book with your expressions. If you're interested in someone, don't immediately show it with all your facial cues. Instead, let your interest be subtle, giving the other person the thrill of wondering if you like them or not. The unpredictability and subtle cues keep them engaged and thinking about you long after the interaction. Lesson 2: The reciprocity principle. The reciprocity principle is a fundamental concept in psychology. It's the idea that when someone does something nice for us, we feel a strong urge to return the favor. This is why small acts of kindness can be so powerful in creating a bond with someone. Imagine you meet someone new and make a kind gesture, like offering to pay for coffee. This small act creates a psychological obligation in the other person to reciprocate in some way. They might not do it immediately, but the thought lingers in their mind. However, to use this principle effectively, your gesture should feel genuine and not calculated. If it feels forced or manipulative, the other person may resist the urge to reciprocate. In relationships, reciprocity can be built gradually. If you want to deepen your connection with someone, start by giving them genuine compliments, showing appreciation for their time, or offering to help them with something they need. These small actions can build up a sense of gratitude and a desire to reciprocate, which in turn strengthens the bond between you two. However, it's crucial to strike a balance. If you overdo it, you may come off as trying too hard to impress, which can have the opposite effect. Instead, focus on small, meaningful gestures that show you value the other person. By doing so, you subtly influence their desire to spend more time with you and give back the same energy. Lesson 3: Understanding emotional contagion. Emotional contagion is a psychological phenomenon where people subconsciously mimic the emotions and attitudes of those around them. If you're happy and positive, the people you interact with are likely to mirror those emotions, creating a sense of shared experience. On the other hand, if you're anxious or nervous, that energy can transfer as well. To use emotional contagion to your advantage, be mindful of the emotions you bring into your interactions. If you want to make someone feel comfortable and attracted to you, exude calmness, confidence, and positivity. When you're relaxed and confident, the other person will start to mirror those emotions, making the interaction feel more harmonious and enjoyable. Moreover, use subtle cues like smiling, nodding, and maintaining good eye contact to amplify this effect. When you smile genuinely, it triggers a response in the other person's brain that makes them more likely to smile back, releasing endorphins that make them feel good. This creates a positive association with you in their mind, making them want to spend more time with you. Emotional contagion also works in reverse. If you notice that the person you're talking to seems nervous or uncomfortable, you can consciously slow down your speech, use a softer tone, and maintain open body language to help them relax. This shows empathy and makes the other person feel understood, which can be incredibly attractive and disarming. Lesson 4. The foot in the door technique. The Yasu foot in the door technique is a psychological strategy that involves getting someone to agree to a small request first, making them more likely to agree to a larger request later. It's based on the idea that once someone has said yes to a small favor, they're more likely to continue saying yes because they've already committed. In the context of building attraction, this could be something as simple as asking the person to hold your drink for a moment while you tie your shoe. This small act of compliance makes it easier for them to agree to larger requests later on, like going out for coffee or spending time together. The key here is to start with something small and non-intrusive. If the person agrees to this minor request, it creates a psychological precedent in their mind. They begin to see you as someone they're comfortable saying yes to, which can help build rapport and trust over time. It's important to use this technique ethically and genuinely. The goal isn't to manipulate someone into doing things for you, but to build a foundation of small agreements that can lead to a deeper connection. By starting small, you ease into a more significant interaction without overwhelming the other person. Lesson 5. Mirroring and matching. Mirroring is a technique where you subtly mimic the other person's body language, tone of voice, and even speech patterns. This creates a subconscious bond because people tend to like others who are similar to themselves. It's a natural human tendency to feel more comfortable with people who seem familiar or like-minded. For example, if the person you're talking to leans forward, you can lean slightly forward as well. If they use certain phrases or expressions, subtly incorporating them into your own speech can make them feel like you're on the same wavelength. This mirroring needs to be subtle. If it's too obvious, it can come off as insincere or even creepy. When done right, mirroring makes the other person feel understood and connected. It taps into their subconscious and creates a sense of rapport that can be very powerful in building attraction. This technique works because it's based on the psychological principle of similarity, which is a strong predictor of attraction. Lesson 6. The halo effect. The halo effect is a cognitive bias where our overall impression of someone is influenced by how we perceive one of their traits. If we see one positive characteristic in a person, we tend to assume that they have other positive traits as well. For instance, if someone is attractive, we might also assume they are kind, intelligent, or successful, even without knowing much about them. You can use the halo effect to your advantage by focusing on presenting a strong, positive trait early on in your interactions. This could be confidence, a good sense of humor, or even kindness. When you showcase a positive characteristic, it influences the other person's perception of you, making them more likely to see you in a positive light overall. The key to using the halo effect effectively is authenticity. Trying to project traits that aren't genuinely part of who you are will eventually backfire. Instead, identify your strengths and find ways to naturally let them shine through in your interactions. Lesson 7. The Scarcity Principle. The scarcity principle is a psychological phenomenon where people perceive something as more valuable if it is rare or hard to obtain. This can be applied in interpersonal dynamics by not always being readily available. When you're always available, it can create a sense of predictability that may reduce the other person's interest. Instead, by occasionally being unavailable or busy, you create a sense of scarcity. This subtle lack of availability can make the other person value your time and attention more. However, it's important to use this principle sparingly. If you're too aloof or distant, the other person might lose interest entirely. The key is to strike a balance between showing genuine interest and maintaining a bit of mystery.